Hey guys, Bill. Well, let me show you my pack. Yep, not the side view of the belly. Pack. Not much to it. Good little day pack. Well, it's getting that time when guys like you and me and girls are going to get out and do some more. It's getting cooler. One thing's coming to mind is seeing a lot of self bows, arrows. Well, you know, we've all got a lot of dead soldiers sitting at home where we've attempted to, you know, make bows and arrows, and for some reason or another, you know, we had a problem and stuck it in the corner of the office. Well, I'm going to take a break here and make me a little drink. Got a couple of tips I'm going to show you. So, hang with me. Alright, hey guys. Well, one of the tips I wanted to share with you is how to spine an arrow. Before you spend a lot of time out there trying to make an arrow, I think the average person will probably look for something pencil size, you know, to try to shoot. Well, there's such thing as a archer's paradox, and it's the way an arrow bends whenever you fire it off. It actually flexes around, you know, the bow, and then flexes back so that the tail fins, so that your fletchings misses the bow. So if you start out too weak, it's going to flex way too much, and if you start out too strong, it's not going to flex enough. So one way that I figured out how to do it is, now I know half this container, because I did a little balancing act with it at the house, is about 2 pounds of water in here. Well, can you see that flex right there? And what I've done is just a couple Y sticks, you can see, with just a stick. Now I did my draw length, which is about 28 and a half or so, around there, 29. Now there's tables that you can find, you know, for all this mathematical stuff, for good, you know, good hunting and accurate. But, you know, just out in the woods, that's my measuring tape, that's my draw length, and that's what I've cut these arrows at. And because I know my walking staff's pretty straight, I can just balance that right up there, if I can get it to balance again. And you can see that this bow right here in this arrow is less than a 1/4 inch. So that stick's going to be way too big for me to use for an arrow. So we'll toss that guy aside. Now I'll show you a weaker one. And, you know, before you even start drying this guy properly to make a good arrow and getting rid of the knots and straightening, you know, you might want to try to check the spine weight. So now this guy here, as you can see, is going to be way too much. So we've probably got 1.5 inches there. So pencil size not good enough. You know, and it's also going to depend on what kind of wood you get. So if you really go after some good hard wood, you've had a way to dry it and straighten it, and you want to make sure you're going to be safe whenever you shoot your arrow, and if you spend a lot of time on it. Now, one thing you can do, if the arrow is too stiff and it's the size you want and you spend a lot of time on it, you can always add weight to the front, like a bigger arrowhead or something a little bit heavier. It'll give it a little more, it'll slow it down more. It'll give it a little more of that archer's paradox. And, you know, if vice versa, if it's got too much and you've already worked a long time on your arrow, don't do a stone. Do a good hardened, you know, thorn or stick or something, you know, that you can harden over a fire and put in there. So there's a couple different ways you can slow the arrow down and speed it up as well. But to find something you're kind of after, well, that right there is too stiff too. Well, see, there you go. 3 out of 3 of the sticks I picked, without him working on them, I know they're never even going to work for an arrow. So that's one tip. And there's another thing you can do. Get that stick back. Once you have accomplished that, you've got an arrow you want, and it's It's got the proper bend, and the proper bend is a 1/2 inch off of a straight. Now you can string a line across through here and do the same thing I'm doing with my walking stick as far as getting a straight line. A 1/2 inch bend is what you want between these two here. Now, granted, stick's going to get harder as it dries, but if you're needing something quick and fast and you're just going to cut down something, you're going to dry it over a fire, you need to do this to try to get your spine strength. Now, once it's straightened, you do the same test and give it a little twist to find the backbone. And where it raises up the most, like that right there, of course this stick's not straight by no means, that's your backbone of your arrow. So if you can mark the backbone, find your spine weight, mark the backbone, before you cut your knot in the end of your arrow, have your backbones probably facing, to the left or whichever you prefer, whichever way you like to shoot, and have all your arrows consistent, have all your spine weights consistent, and then you'll be ready to go do some hunting. So alright guys, well there's you some tips. Just out here scouting around looking for a little ginseng, and heck, I might even try to make another self-made bow. Like I said, I've got a bunch of skeletons down at the house, and I don't know, I can throw a rock about as far as I can shoot a bow. Alright, thanks guys.